If you're the one who always had to get it right, the golden child, but somehow still felt not enough, this might explain why. Were you the high achiever, the one who did everything perfectly? I'm curious, were you the golden child or did you play a different role in your family? Tell me below in the comments. The good one, the shining star. The one who never caused problems, the one who everyone praised, but beneath it, you might have felt anxious or guilty or like you could never fully relax. Maybe you've tried to stop people pleasing, but the moment you do, the guilt and even shame kicks in. And here's a question that most people never ask. What if being the golden child didn't protect you, but trained your nervous system into ways you're still living out today? And what if that's a form of trauma that often goes completely unnoticed? Because if you were the golden child, you didn't escape the trauma, you were just rewarded for hiding it.
She's made of gold. Shines so.
Hi, I'm Jill. I've been a psychotherapist for over 26 years, and I help people understand how trauma and their nervous system and their early family roles shape their lives today. Because childhood trauma isn't just about what happened to you, sometimes it's about the role you had to become. Because trauma isn't always something obvious or something dramatic. Sometimes it's the chronic pressure to be a certain way in order to feel safe or loved. And if you're not aware of that role, you might still be living it out without even realizing. In many families, these roles were quite subtle. There is the responsible one, the peacekeeper, the scapegoat, which I talked about in the previous video, and often the golden child. Before we go any further, there's something important to understand. Most people assume these roles only exist in obviously dysfunctional families. But here's what people sometimes miss. They can develop in families that look completely normal on the surface. And this is where it starts to affect you in ways you might not expect. These roles aren't labels of who you are. They're patterns that form inside a system, often quietly, often without anyone noticing. And very often they develop as a way to cope with tension, with unspoken conflict, or with emotions that don't have space to exist. And over time, these adaptations can become what we call relational or developmental trauma. Patterns that shape how you think, feel, and respond, often without you knowing why. So instead of being the perfect one, you were adapting. Maybe you were the child who got the good grades, the ones that the teachers loved, the one your parents showed off your awards or your achievements, your prizes, your performances, the one who just knew how to behave. And on the outside, it looks like everything was working. But inside, there might have been this constant pressure, that tightness in your chest when something wasn't perfect, that quiet anxiety when you thought you'd let someone down. As if, you just couldn't mess up. You had to keep everyone happy. You had to hold everything together. Almost like you had to maintain this image of being capable, of being reliable. And when that pressure is constant, it doesn't just stay as stress. It becomes something your body learns to carry. And this is where it gets interesting. You might still be living that pressure now, even when no one is asking you to. Does that feel true for you? Like the pressure is still there, even when nothing is wrong? So is the golden child really the lucky one, the chosen one, the successful one? But here's what most people don't see. If you were the golden child, you weren't valued for who you were. You were valued for how well you functioned. And that changes everything. Because when a child feels they have to earn love by performing, that creates a subtle but powerful form of trauma where safety becomes tied to getting it right and where love feels conditional. You don't just try to succeed, you've become what's expected. I once worked with a client, a highly successful, respected lawyer. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But in one session, she said something I never forgot. She told me she hated her job. Her father had been a lawyer, her grandfather had been a lawyer. It was never really a choice, it was an expectation. And here's the part that stayed with me. She was excellent at what she did, but every day she felt anxious and just not good enough. And this is why even now you might feel uneasy when you slow down or guilty when you rest. And this takes us to a deeper question. If your worth was tied to being good, why do you still feel like you're not good enough? This is where the nervous system comes in. As children, we don't just seek love, we adapt to it. If you learned being calm equaled praise, being successful equaled attention, or being the one who achieves meant safety, your nervous system wires this association. I am safe when I perform well. This is how trauma wires itself into the nervous system. And it's not through one moment, but it's through repetition. And here's the deeper layer. This also means I might not be safe if I don't perform well. So instead of developing a stable sense of self, a person develops a performance-based identity. You become hyper aware of expectations, afraid of disappointing people, always trying to stay good enough. If you would like to learn more about roles in families, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Let me pause here for a moment because this might be more personal than you expect. When I work with adults who were the golden child, from the outside, they often seemed like they had everything together. But behind that, often something very different was happening. And I'm going to tell you about someone, I'm going to call her Samantha. Even the thought of making a mistake would send her into a spiral of anxiety. But we'll come back to her. Because this runs deeper than it looks. Children don't choose these roles consciously, they adapt. And the golden child role can look like being calm and controlled, not expressing needs, keeping everything running smoothly, or representing the image of the family really positively. But here's the key point. It's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. Your system learned, if I am this way, I'm safe. And over time, this becomes a form of relational trauma, where your sense of self is shaped around maintaining connection, rather than expressing who you are. Now, back to Samantha. She made a small mistake at work one day, nothing major, but her body reacted instantly. Her chest tightened, her thoughts spiraled, and she had a sense that everything was about to fall apart. And this is where most people misunderstand. It wasn't about the mistake. This reaction isn't overthinking, it's a trauma response. To her nervous system, it felt like, if I'm not perfect, I'm not safe. Maybe for you it shows up differently. Maybe you can't relax, even when nothing is wrong, or you feel guilty resting, like you always need to be doing something. Here's the surprising part. This isn't ambition, this is conditioning. Your brain learned your value comes from what you do, not who you are. I'll share some steps next, but if you want something you can come back to, I have put together a free guide. The link's in the description, and it's all about understanding and healing hidden childhood wounds. Okay, so if this pattern has been ruining your life, what shows up most for you? Is it the pressure? Is it the guilt? Or is it the anxiety if you slow down or if you get something wrong? Well, these are all learned trauma responses. How do you actually begin to change these? If this pattern is running in the background, how do you actually begin to shift it? And it's not by forcing yourself to just stop it, but it's by working with your nervous system and not working against it. And I'm going to share 7 gentle actions that I often use with my clients. Let's get on with them. Number 1, why do I feel responsible for everything? This often starts early, when being good meant being loved. Responsibility became part of your identity. So now you automatically take on more than is actually yours. And this is where it gets subtle. You don't just help, you carry. So try this. Next time someone is upset, pause and ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Give yourself a few seconds before responding and reframe it in this way. You can care about someone without carrying them. Point number 2, how to stop people pleasing. People pleasing isn't a personality trait, it's a nervous system response. Your system learned keeping others happy equals staying safe. So of course it feels hard to stop. So try this. Instead of saying yes immediately, say, let me think about that. And just that pause can create space. And reframe it in this way. Slowing down doesn't make you selfish. It gives you choice, and you have a right to that choice. Every human does. Number 3, why do I feel guilty when I rest? Excuse me, quick slurp of tea. Now, this one can feel confusing because even if there's nothing wrong, your body doesn't fully relax. And that's because your system learns your value comes from what you do. So stillness can feel unsafe. So try this. Place your hand on your chest and put your second hand on your tummy, just under your tummy button. Take a slow breath in and then breathe out. And sit like that for a minute or 2 if you can, doing nothing, just noticing your breath. And notice what comes up for you without trying to fix it. And reframe it in this way. Your worth doesn't increase when you perform, and it doesn't disappear when you rest. Number 4, why am I so afraid of making mistakes? If mistakes once meant disapproval, your system learned to avoid them at all costs. And this is why even small things can feel overwhelming. So try this. Do something slightly imperfect on purpose, like sending a text message without overthinking it, just leaving something unfinished, or sticking a headband on when your hair actually needs washed. Then notice that, nothing catastrophic happens. and reframe it that mistakes don't equal rejection. Number 5, healing from the golden child role. This role wasn't just something you did, it became who you thought you had to be. So healing isn't about losing that part of you, it's about expanding beyond it. So try this. Even journal, note it down. Who am I when I'm not trying to be good or helpful or impressive? And that might not be clear to you at first, but just sit with it, mull it over, leave it in your head as you go through your day. And here's the reframe. You are more than the role you learned, because you are. Number 6, how to calm an overactive nervous system. You might still be scanning for what needs fixing, even when nothing's wrong. That's your system trying to stay ahead of danger. Try one of my tapping videos. Tapping is like a direct communication to your body and nervous system that tells it we're safe, to power down, to relax. Let your body register, I'm safe right now, and allow your nervous system to regulate into a feeling of safety. You don't have to earn safety anymore. And there's several tapping videos. In fact, I do a tapping video that accompanies every video where, I'm talking about trauma or narcissism. I always do an accompanying tapping video. So check them out. And number 7, how to stop overthinking everything. Overthinking often comes from one place: trying to get it right, trying to avoid mistakes, trying to stay safe. And gosh, I used to be the overthinking princess when I was younger. So try this. If you have a decision to make, set a timer for 5 minutes. And when the timer ends, make the decision, make the choice, no revisiting it. And so here's the reframe. You can trust yourself without over-analysing everything. If this is making sense to you, please click the like button. I want you to hear this. There's nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system did exactly what it was designed to do: protect connection. It adapted to the environment where love and safety felt conditional. It found the safest strategy: be good, be reliable, be successful, be everything others need me to be. And it worked. But what helped you back then might be what is exhausting you now. If you'd like a bit more support with this, remember and download my free guide on childhood trauma. The link's in the description. Healing isn't about becoming less capable or less successful. It's about becoming more you. And the moment you begin to see this as something you adapted to, rather than something that is wrong with you, everything can begin to shift. You are more able to show yourself some compassion and some understanding. Because you were never meant to earn love by getting everything right. And if you'd like more videos on childhood roles and how they shape your nervous system, you can subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. So the next time that pressure shows up to be perfect, to always be right, to be the high achiever, you might gently ask yourself, am I trying to be loved, or am I finally allowing myself to just be? And once you start seeing this, you're already in a position to begin creating change. Because once you see all this stuff, you can't unsee it. If this video helped you see something about yourself, let me know in the comments, or share it with someone who might need to hear this. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And until next time, you take very good care. Bye-bye for now.